Hello YouTube. Hello, this is Ben Gessel. So this is going to be a little bit different kind of video. I don't know if you guys have probably noticed by now that I just to keep my thoughts somewhat organized, I have kind of an outline on the right on the well facing you guys. I guess it would be I'll just use the right side of my computer, just to keep my thoughts organized and keep me from going on too long about any one thing. Uh, but this is one of the, I think it might be the first video I've done where I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to take one idea, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about, I guess you could say, using the word copying. Copying, or I would say plagiarizing, but essentially uh, using someone else's original ideas, thoughts, whatever, um, and just using different names or different. I don't know. I'm going to talk about the difference between just almost lifting another story or another video game idea or musical ideas or whatever in the arts, and that versus being inspired um, by something, to do something. Um, so there's you might think it's a simple kind of thing. There are laws, copyright laws, and lawsuits going on right now about this very subject. And I think that judges and lawyers, judges are trying to do very best, the best that they know how, in regards to just how close is something, or when does something step over the line into just straight like plagiarizing something or copying something, for profit. Uh, when does that occur? And I guess the thing is that there are some, the more that a lot of the more that at least somewhat sizable chunk of people have a strong interest in a certain subject, the more that they're going to want to do something in that area, in whatever area of art they're skilled at, or the arts they're skilled at. They're going to want to do something in that area, and uh, they might use many elements of the original story, music, whatever that they liked a lot. And so, I guess the question is, yeah, I mean, how much similarity is too much similarity? So let's get into maybe, again, I'm not a lawyer, and then my more skilled area in the arts is music. So there's only so much I can really say about this. But if you take a melody and you have, let's say, just have the first two or three pitches of that melody, there's a lot of music that starts out with the same two or three pitches. The question is, what is the rhythm like? And then if you get to the fourth and fifth and sixth pitch, by that point, a melody should be more distinctive, more recognizable. Based on the rhythm, based on the and the note sequence, but especially the rhythm, and then also even the chord progression underneath that, those notes. So for music, if it's much easier to tell when somebody has plagiarized someone else's music. It's really easy to tell, because there are so many elements in music to make every piece of music original. in prose or with creative writing, um, it's not as easy to tell, in my opinion. If someone's just kind of, you know, not giving someone credit where credit is due for something. But there's so many authors. There's so many people that are writing. Um, there's just. I mean, imagine the number of people that listen to even classical music or just listen to any song versus the number of people that are reading books these days, especially books you buy in a bookstore. I mean, it's just. I think they still have a lot more music listeners than you do book readers, but I could be mistaken. But more, I think it's we're talking about the fiction books, not nonfiction. Nonfiction is different. Okay, so we're talking about creative writing fiction. So art, it should be easy to tell when somebody is plagiarizing someone else. In movies and video games, yeah, I think it's creative writing where you get the most issues, and but there's so many things you can do, and so the last little bit of this, I'm trying to make this particular video too long. The last little bit here has to do with your creative writers that want to publish. They're going to try to publish something, and it's something that's very. It's a book. It's a story that's a lot like. There's a question of let's say there's a certain piece of music that you don't know about, or there's a certain book that you don't know about, and whatever you're going to do, it's a lot like this other thing. If you've never read the book or if you've never listened to the music, it may constantly be a lot like it, but it's still not going to be it. I'm referring more to the Lord of the Rings fans out there. There's so many of them, but also Harry Potter, that sort of thing. If you write a book, for instance, about a wizarding academy, and you have boyfriends and girlfriends and young teenagers, and you have the same kind of setup. Maybe the house colors are different, and maybe different creatures that you like more than others. If that story is based on other themes, different kinds of themes, or if it goes a different direction, it'll be seen as very much like a Harry Potter type story. But I don't think J.K. Rowling is going to be suing anybody if there isn't like a Harry-like character whose main enemy is a Draco-like character who also happens to have the main character happens to have a very brainy friend who's a girl and a kind of a dopier red-haired friend. If it's just, the more the similarities stack up, the more Rowling would probably not be so happy if that book were to do pretty well. But, again, I think creative writing is where you have the most issues, really. And it should be easy to generate your own ideas. The last little bit here has to do with, Harry Potter more recently, but Lord of the Rings, for instance, being one of the books that's been around for a little longer. In Star Wars and some of these kinds of ideas, they have such strong fan bases, and it's hard to, once you have a great story like that, it can be hard to have your own story that's similar but different. And I really think that having, you're putting your own ideas, your own emotions, your own themes that these other stories don't really address. Even more of those things, but your own characters too. But all these things you should enjoy. The creative process. You should enjoy having those things be different than the other things you've already read, because we've already read those things, and some of us we want to read something different. So what you do is you can take certain, being inspired as you take little bits that you like in a piece of music or a story, or whatever, and you put it into what you're doing. That's different than just copying everything. And, there's my piece that has a different tile. Some of the characters have different names, but you can tell if it's the same thing as something else. So hopefully this helps some of you guys. Uh, One last thought. I always think much more highly of people who are truly very creative and imaginative than I do people that go to a bunch of um, conventions. But all the conventions are expensive, though. But um, so you always have some really cool folks that go to conventions, but I think that there are a fair number of folks I think out there that just need to be doing your own thing. Um, it's hard to come up with your own thing, but you need to be thinking about those themes in your life that matter the most. That, there's emotions that seem to kind of be ongoing. Put them into your stories. Put them into your music. That's what we want to hear. We want to hear a different voice. We don't want to hear a million Tolkiens or a million Rowlings. We want to hear this sort of stuff. As long as it's sincere, and as long as you're putting enough stuff out there from your own humanity that we can get, and as long as you get some aesthetic sensitivities as well, we're gonna love those things in the fantasy realm especially. So, all right, I'll catch you guys later. Thanks. Bye.